In this New York City courtroom, Exxon Mobil is facing accusations that it didn't reveal to investors what it knew about the costs of climate change.
The problem is cost of carbon.
And that's just one in a series of emerging battles for the oil industry.
Oil companies like Exxon knew the scientific reality 40 years ago, but waged a war of deception that cost us precious time in the fight to save our planet.
In Washington, a congressional subcommittee examined what it called the industry's efforts to suppress climate science. Meanwhile, more than a dozen U.S. city and state governments have launched climate court action against the industry. Exxon Mobil told CBC News the New York court allegations are false and that baseless lawsuits do nothing to help advance needed solutions. Still, the questions are being asked. What did the oil companies know about the climate risk from fossil fuel emissions? When did they know? And what did they do with that information?
Our energy-consuming way of life may be causing climatic changes, with adverse consequences for us all.
That film was produced by Shell in 1991 as part of an educational series and then forgotten. That's until Dutch environment reporter Jelmer Momers dug it up to show how much the industry knew about climate science.
It was very, very shocking, actually, to see how much knowledge was already there.
A Shell Canada spokesperson told CBC News in an email, Shell's position on climate change has been publicly documented for more than 2 decades. And in Canada, some municipalities are considering joining the legal fight against big oil.
The same motivations that have given rise to communities in the U.S. thinking that they have to go to court are going to more and more force Canadian municipalities to go, well, hang on, how can we pay these billions of dollars?
Already, Toronto, Vancouver, and Victoria are seeking legal opinions. Kelly Crow, CBC News, Toronto.
In May of 2014, Exxon realized it had a problem. The problem was cost of carbon. More specifically, the problem was what it was telling its investors about its cost of carbon. For years, the company had utilized the cost of carbon to evaluate the impact of potential future climate change regulation on its business. In fact, internally, Exxon had 2 separate cost assumptions. One cost assumption to account for how climate change regulation would impact the global demand for oil and gas, and a second cost assumption to account for how climate change regulation would impact greenhouse gas or GHG emissions from its own operations.
For many years, Exxon Mobil has acknowledged that climate change is real and that it is a problem that must be addressed by the nations of the world. But the problem of climate change does not permit the New York Attorney General to bring a meritless complaint and one that is so unconnected from the truth. The evidence will show that Exxon Mobil did not commit securities fraud, did not make any misleading statements, it did not lie to its investors. Exxon Mobil did nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. The evidence will show that the allegations in the complaint are bizarre and twisted and not connected to the reality of the truth.
First, a new tack in the battle over climate change, going after energy companies for alleged financial fraud. New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman recently subpoenaed oil giant Exxon Mobil, apparently seeking documents that might show the company had downplayed the risks to profits and therefore to investors of stronger regulations on burning fossil fuels. Exxon's history has been the subject of recent reporting by Inside Climate News, the Los Angeles Times, and others. The reporting has alleged the company misled the public about what its own scientists found about the risks of climate change and greenhouse gases. Here's a clip of a video produced by PBS's Frontline in collaboration with Inside Climate News, a not-for-profit journalism organization that covers energy and the environment.
Proponents of the global warming theory say that higher levels of greenhouse gases are causing world temperatures to rise and that burning fossil fuels is the reason. But scientific evidence remains inconclusive as to whether human activities affect the global climate.
We found a trail of documents that go back to 1977. Exxon knew carbon dioxide was increasing in the atmosphere, that combustion of fossil fuels was driving it, and that this posed a threat to Exxon. At that time, Exxon understood very quickly that governments would probably take action to reduce fossil fuel consumption. They're smart people, great scientists, and they saw the writing on the wall.
That a Frontline excerpt.